Oh my goodness. Really? This has changed? Okay. All right, everybody. Hi. This is American Nana, and I think I have resolved the fan issue. I'm not sure how the playback is going to be or any of that, or why is this right here? Oh, I got it. Oh, so y'all don't see me doing that. That's cool because I look like an idiot back here. All right. So what I'm going to try to do is I'm sitting here looking at tabs. I'm so sorry. All right, so what I'm going to try to do is I'm going to play the recording. I'm going to make a recording. Yeah, whoa. Here, let me see. And I'm not going to let it, mm, there. All right. So what it is I'm trying this out. Let's see if it works. I believe it should, and maybe this will work a lot better. I know I want to say thank you to those of you that put up with my fan and don't complain. I always apologize for it, but sometimes I have a lot to say, and the only place I can do it. So I think I figured out how to do it now inside my house as long as I run everybody off. And I'm hoping that I don't have to talk any louder than this because it's 1:15 in the morning. Most everyone here is asleep, and I'm trying this to see if it works. So, because I'm so obsessed with the Karen Reed case, um, I know that I'm going to go back and watch the pretrial motions simply because I never saw them. I never watched anything to do with this case until the trial. And then I watched the trial. And then after the trial, I started finding all the other, um, Turtle Boy is one of the ones I went to because you heard his name so often, and I wanted to see what was up. And apparently, he's done some major digging here. The other thing is, I found the Young Jerks, which absolutely I love them, and it helps if you want to understand more of what's going on in Canton and like the select board meetings and everything that what is it Chris Albert is on along with these other men that they don't care what the common folks say because they think that they're of the elite and that only the elite need to be listened to. So that's how I see it. Sadly, because really and honestly, the town is suffering, and Karen Reed and what's happening to Karen Reed is bringing this out to much bigger platform, and the world is watching now. So I am going to go back and start with the pre-motions. I've done some of them, and um, I was going to just go through them and then make videos, but I think I'm going to go through them and I'm going to play them and I'll either speed up or slow down. I'll comment or whatever because um, eh, I have more time. Because if I watch them, I take notes, I do clips, I put it all together. It's just a lot of time. So I'm going to cut some of it out so that I can bring a little bit more of my opinion and my insight to what I see. So, I'm going to start with Caitlyn Albert, and one of the reasons is because it bothered me so much when she testified. I mean, it drove me crazy. Um, Her story was completely. unbelievable. And because of her story being completely unbelievable, that means that I call into question everything she said. And the story that I find completely unbelievable is her stating that it was the plan all along for her boyfriend Tristan to come back out to Canton in this storm, in this blizzard that they were having, that he was on call to be a snow plow driver for. So you knew that the storm was coming. You knew that it was supposed to be super bad. You went home with your parents where you intended to spend the night. I don't buy for 1 second that your boyfriend brought you from Easton to Canton, went and had a couple drinks, left you at the bar, went back home from Canton to Easton to hopefully get a little bit of sleep before 3 or 4 a.m. when he was needed, but yet he gets no sleep because you call him and he has to go back from Easton to Canton, pick you up, and bring you back to Easton. Sweet pea, who told you that story would be believable? And simply because that story wasn't believable, then you also state that you arrived with your parents. Y'all were the first to arrive home. When you were coming in, Colin was going out. You know, I don't know if anybody ever asked, okay, so when he left, but did he come back? Does anybody ever ask that question? Would anybody get the straight answer? But the problem is that you called your boyfriend. You called and called and text and text. You had to do it more than once because you had to get back home in the middle of a storm hitting. It was so bad, he says he was driving with his knuckles 10 and 2. Huh. But the other thing you said is that you were always within eyesight of your dad, Brian Albert, and his friend, Brian Higgins. You said even when they left the room, you could still see them in the other room. What what reason would you have to lie unless it was your father was involved in this somehow? I mean, there's just too many questions. What kind of parent wants their child to lie for them, wants them to carry this? What kind of young person thinks carrying this is not going to destroy them somehow? You know, you may think that you can just sit back while an innocent woman goes to prison and carry on with your life. It's going to eat away at you. Just one way or another, it's going to get you. It's not going to let you go. But we have her claiming they never left her sight. Now we know Brian Albert himself and Higgins both say they went upstairs or they went somewhere. She says they never left her sight. Let's see.
At 34 Fairview Road, your parents' home on January 29th of 2022, after you got there, correct?
Again, yes, because me and my parents were the first ones inside from what I remember.
Did you see what Brian Higgins drove to get there?
I did not.
You did not see where he parked his vehicle.
I did not.
At some point, you saw him inside the home, correct?
Yes.
And he made it into the kitchen and dining room area where you were, correct?
Yes.
You agree that at some point, Brian Higgins and your father, Brian Albert, left that area to go to another room, correct?
Yes.
So it's fair to say there was at least some portion of the night when Brian Higgins and your father were out of your field of vision, correct?
I don't agree with that because the room that I had seen them go into has an open doorway and you can see right into the family room that they were in. So I could actually see them in there.
Gotcha. How long were you there when Brian Higgins and your father, Brian Albert, were there?
Inside the family room?
I'm talking from that whole night. When you were at 34 Fairview, how much time lapsed between the time you first saw Brian Higgins and Brian Higgins left the residence?
I can't say for sure. If I had to estimate, I'd say an hour and a half.
Okay. And so your testimony before this jury is for that full hour and a half, there was no time when Brian Higgins and your father, Brian Albert, were out of your field of vision.
Not that I can remember.
Now, earlier that evening on Friday, January 28th, you made plans to go out with your mom, Nicole Albert, your aunt, Julie Albert, and your boyfriend, Tristan Morris, correct?
Yes.
From the beginning of that night, the plan was for Tristan to go home early, correct?
Yes.
And that was because he had to get up early to plow or shovel, correct?
Yes.
He had to get up really early, correct?
Yes.
The plan was for him to shovel or plow at 3 a.m.?
He was, from what I recall, he was on standby for like 3. It could have been any time after that.
Oh, I see. So it could have been that he had to get up at 3 or maybe a little bit later, correct?
Yes.
And it was for that reason that when he was at the waterfall with you, he only had a couple of drinks, correct?
From what I remember, yes.
And from the beginning of the night, you knew that it was going to be iffy as to whether he would be able to get much sleep at all, correct?
It wasn't really something we discussed.
Well, the reason he was going home early and only having a couple of drinks was to see if he could catch some sleep before what would be a very difficult work morning, correct?
Yes.
And you knew
Right. They
that in
never
order for
talked
him
if
to
he
get
was
any sleep,
going
he
to
couldn't stay at the
sleep,
waterfall very
right?
long, correct?
Yes.
And that's why he left early.
Yes, he went home to rest. We didn't speak about whether or not he would be sleeping.
It wouldn't shock you if he tried to go to sleep.
No, it wouldn't. No, it wouldn't.
You stayed believing that Tristan was going to try and rest and sleep, correct?
Yes.
And the plan when he left you was that you wouldn't see him again until after he was done with his plowing that morning, correct?
That's incorrect.
Okay. So is it your testimony that the plan from the beginning was that Tristan was going to drive from Canton to Easton and get some rest, and then drive from Easton to Canton to pick you up so that he could take you back from Canton to Easton? That was the plan?
It may not have been set in stone, but it was definitely spoken about, and then that's what ended up happening. Yes.
Have you ever told anyone that before, Ms. Albert, that the plan from the start of the night was that Tristan was going to make 4 trips total from Canton to Easton, Easton to Canton, Canton to Easton? Have you ever told anyone that before?
I don't remember if I mentioned that to anybody.
That was the first time you've ever said that just now before this jury. Would you agree with that?
I believe so.
Wow.
Almost 2.5 years after
And she
January 29th,
thinks people are
correct?
going to believe
Correct.
this. That's what's so scary.
Isn't it true
Who told
that
you
you
to say
decided
this?
at 1:45 in the
Who are you
morning
covering
that it was
for?
important for you to get home?
At 1:45, around that time is when Tristan picked me up. A little bit after that, but I didn't want to get snowed in at my parents' house.
It was important for
I
you to
didn't want to
leave
get snowed
34
in at my
Fairview, correct?
parents' house, so why did you
I
go?
wouldn't say
It was
important, but it
going
was something that I
to
wanted to do.
snow.
It was
Yes.
important enough for you to leave, correct?
Yes.
And you made the decision to have Tristan drive from Easton to Canton to pick you up, correct?
Yes.
How far is it from Easton to Canton?
From our apartment in Easton to
Okay, so the only thing that I can say about that is, does she think we're meatheads or what? Does anybody else have a problem with this? I mean, I think it's 100% BS. What was that? Was it the movie How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days? where they were playing that card game. I call bullshit. I call bullshit. That that absolutely makes no sense. You went to your parents' house knowing this horrible snowstorm was coming in. It had started snowing, according to all of you. You didn't care if your boyfriend Tristan was safe or not. Just get in that vehicle and come pick my ass up and do it now. I don't believe you. That wasn't I mean, I imagine that may be how you tried to get home, but you know, it wasn't because you didn't want to be snowed in. You'd already made the decision that you were going to go to your parents' house. You already knew it was going to be snowing. You already knew that Tristan was probably going to work. So you were going to be hanging out with your family until something happened to change the night. That's what I think. I'm sorry, but that's just how I feel. So let's listen. What else?
Road is about 18, 19 minutes.
Okay, and that's when there's not a snowstorm outside, correct?
Correct.
Of course, in a major snowstorm, you certainly can't drive as carefree as you can when you're driving in good road conditions, correct?
Right.
And your boyfriend was making that trip multiple times that night, correct?
Yes.
When Tristan picked you up at 1:45 a.m., did you bring Chloe out of the house with you to take to your apartment?
No.
Okay. On January 29th of 2022, you were there at your parents' house from around midnight until about 1:45?
About a little bit after 1:45, yes.
Okay, and during that span of time, almost 2 hours, you never saw anyone pull up outside, correct?
I personally did not.
No. And you personally did not look out the window either, correct?
No, I did not.
And you personally never heard anything out of the ordinary outside, correct?
That is correct.
Right. You never heard any yelling, correct?
That is correct.
No screaming,
Correct.
nothing smashing into anything else,
Correct.
no revving of tires,
Correct.
no noises outside,
Correct.
nothing attracted your attention.
Correct.
You never saw any vehicle backup lights.
Correct.
You never saw any red lights outside.
Correct.
You heard zero evidence of anything that would lead you to conclude that there had been some type of car accident outside.
Objection.
Sustained. You can ask it differently, Ms. Tenen.
You didn't hear a car accident.
Objection.
Objection.
Ask it
Objection.
differently.
Oh, he makes me
When you
sick.
left 34 Fairview at 1:45, which door did you use?
I think I walked out the front door.
And the front door, could I have exhibit 66, Mr. Bates? With the court's permission, may that be
Sure.
displayed? Do you recognize exhibit 66 as being a depiction of your house?
Yes.
The front door to your home, there are actually two of them, correct?
Yes.
And when you say the front door, you're referring to the door that's lit up in that photo?
Yes.
You can take that off the screen. I'd like to ask you some questions about what you.
Whoops, there I go again. Okay. I don't really think that she has anything else um, that's even slight bit interesting. She saw nothing. She doesn't remember. She never looked at the yard. She never looked at the grass. All right. So then Lowry gets up. He wants to be sure and point out that picture that picture was of the house, but wasn't your house. I guess because the defense took it or had it drawn or whatever. Bottom line is, looked like her house to her. She had no problem saying what door she went in. Not sure why you need to point that out, Lally. A waste of time, like most of this entire trial was. All right, this guy right here. I'm going to tell y'all right now. He's got a vocabulary, it's really hard to keep up with him. He's, just absolutely brilliant. You can see his thought process. You can see how friendly he is. He's all cleaned up like, what, a choir boy. And, let's see, what is it? Don't recall, don't remember, don't know, don't believe so. No, I do not. Couldn't estimate. And I'll tell you what, when Yannetti was asking him what time he went to get her, and he didn't remember. I mean, he plays an absolute moron. Well, take that back. He does not play an absolute moron. Son, you are an absolute moron. Have y'all ever seen those big ox? The oxen, the water buffaloes, them huge things, and their tongue just comes out. I mean, it's like, oh God, get away. They appear to be one of the dumbest animals. I'm not really sure they are, but let's just say for argument's sake, right, that they're kind of a dumb animal. Well, then I guess you could say he fits that bill. You know what I mean? What is the dumbest animal on earth? Oh God, an ostrich? Well, I guess that could fit you, dude. Hard to believe that an ostrich is the dumbest. It's a flightless bird. Its intellectual shortcomings are highlighted in its behavioral patterns and survival strategies. I guess because it thinks if it just hides its head, it's nobody can see it. Kind of like a toddler, they get behind the curtain. My grandbaby does this all the time. I have sheer curtains in the dining room. Matter of fact, the only place in the house I have curtains. No, I have some in the kitchen windows. We got blinds. Back when I was growing up, we didn't have blinds. We had nothing but curtains. But anyway, she gets behind these sheer curtains and she is funny as funny can be because she thinks she don't see her. Now she's 3 and she understands it a little better. But we seriously did have a cat that used to think, and her name was Princess, and she would get up behind those sheer curtains, and she knew she was hiding. So, each to his own. Everybody has a little something they do, right? But the thing is, and I shouldn't. It's not that I'm trying to be mean or ugly. Well, I'm being snarky. But listen to him, and I ask you again: do these people consider what lying like this is actually? I mean, what's it good for? What are they accomplishing? Can anybody tell me that? Does anybody know? All right, let's listen to Mr. Friendly here, and I tell you what, he's something friendly, isn't he? He's. I'm gonna let you listen to him for a few minutes with Lally because, it's like, Lally, why did you call this doofus? I don't know. Here go, guys. I may fast forward him at some point because I just want him to answer the one question. But then again, the don't remembers, the don't do. I mean, I may let you just listen to it because it truly is. It's like, holy crap. All right, I'm gonna hush.
Told you for nothing but the truth, so help you God.
I do.
Thank you. Take a seat.
Okay, whenever you are ready, Mr. Lally. Good morning.
Thank you. Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Could you please state your name and spell your last name?
Tristan Morris, Morris,
And Ms. Morris, where do you live?
Easton,
And who, if anyone, do you live there with?
Caitlyn Albert.
And what is the nature of your relationship with Caitlyn?
She's my girlfriend.
And how long have the two of you been together?
Roughly 8 years.
And with respect, well, let me ask you this. Do you work, sir?
Yes, I do.
And what do you do for work?
I'm a union pipe fitter.
And how long have you been doing that?
6 years.
Now, if I could turn your attention to the evening of January 28th, 2022.
In all honesty, do we care how long he's been a pipe
Early
fitter?
morning of the 29th?
I don't know.
Yes, I do.
And do you recall what days of the week those were?
Friday and Saturday, I believe.
Wow, he knows the
And
days of the
on that
week.
particular Friday, what, if any, plans did you have yourself and your girlfriend, Caitlyn, Albert?
For me, it was just an ordinary day. I went out and I met them for a drink.
And about what time?
So I'm going to ask you to keep your voices, okay?
Okay.
You indicated you went and met them. Who is that?
My girlfriend, Caitlyn, and that's all I remember.
And do you
Right.
recall where it was that you went?
Waterfall Bar and Grill.
But he
That's
knew they
somewhere
went
that you
there.
And Caitlyn had been to before.
Yes, multiple times.
And do you have any idea what time that was on the 28th?
I don't recall.
And do you recall if anyone else was there in addition to yourself and your girlfriend, Caitlyn?
No, I do
No,
not.
I don't
Do you
recall.
recall whether or not either of her parents were there?
I don't remember.
No.
You're familiar with her parents, though? Is that fair to say?
Yes, I am.
You're familiar with the family, correct?
Yes, I am.
And if you recall, about how long was it that you were at the waterfall that evening?
I couldn't estimate, but it wasn't that long.
And wasn't that long? Why? What was it that caused you to leave that night?
Later that night, I had to go plow. I was supposed to wake up pretty early.
And as far as plowing, is that something that you do sort of on the side on a fairly regular basis? Or?
Yes. When I can do it, I do it. It's extra money.
And how is it that, what, if any, relationship do you have with the company that you're doing sort of plowing and shoveling for?
It's my landlord's company.
And is that, when you say plowing, is that sort of residences, businesses, or something else?
All of those residents, houses.
Okay, everybody. I'm sorry. I had to go say goodnight to my husband. Now, I think there's only just a little bit more before we get to the best part. Let's skip to the best part. Let's see.
Commercial parking lot, could be a condo, could be a business park, any of those things.
Correct.
And about what time was it, if you know, that you were supposed to sort of be ready or on call to go out and do that?
Who
So we waited for
cares
snow. I just
what
had to
he
be on call for
plows?
3 to 4 in the morning. Just have my phone on standby and be ready to go. Just how it always is.
And so when you left, or when you went to the waterfall in Canton, at that time, was it snowing?
I don't believe so.
And when you left the waterfall to go home, why did you went home to rest? Is that fair to say?
Yeah, I needed to sleep. Yes.
And when you left the waterfall to go home to Easton to get some rest or to get some sleep, was it snowing at that point?
I don't remember.
Now, he tells you that he's got to leave to go home and go to sleep. So you know he's not planning on then getting up and going picking up his girlfriend. That's common sense at this point. Of course, I don't think he knew he was supposed to lie.
And at some point prior to you going out and either plowing or shoveling early that morning, who, if anyone, was contacted?
Can you repeat the question, please?
After you went home to rest or get some sleep, well, first of all, were you able to get any sleep?
Barely.
And while you were home in Easton, who, if anyone, was reaching out to you?
Yes, my girlfriend.
And so your girlfriend, Caitlyn, was it calling, texting? How was she reaching out if you were calling?
I believe both.
So by saying he believes both, that means that she's trying desperately to reach him, right? I mean, I'm going to guess.
And about what point in the evening did you start to get calls or texts from her?
I don't remember.
And at some point, based on those calls and texts, what, if anything, did you do?
Can you elaborate?
At some point, did you leave Easton and go back to Canton?
Yes, I did.
And do you have any recollection of when that was over the course of the evening or the early morning?
No, I don't remember a time.
And in relation to when you got, let me ask you this, as far as the calls and the texts that you received from your girlfriend, Caitlyn, was that one or two, or were they repetitive?
There was a couple different texts, yeah.
And over the course of about how long a period of time? Was it all within a couple minutes or half hour, hours?
I don't recall.
Okay, let's just go to when Yannetti starts talking to him.
Hanson,
Where in Canton?
34 Fairview.
She was living there with her parents at the time,
Correct.
Brian and Nicole Albert.
Yes.
You met her parents, Brian and Nicole Albert, several years ago, correct?
Correct.
You've met all of Caitlyn's siblings as well.
Correct.
You've spent time at their house.
Yes.
You've spent holidays with them,
Yes.
and you've been over there on weekends, correct?
Yes.
It's fair to say that over the last 7 or 8 years, you've been with the Albert family quite a bit, correct?
Yes.
And you've also been with the McCabe family, correct?
Yes.
And even though you're not married, you consider yourself just about one of the family, correct?
Yes.
After 8 years, I would assume.
Since
Wonder why they hadn't got
John
married.
O'Keefe's death, you have continued associating with both the Alberts and the McCabe's, correct?
Yes.
Because you're still dating and living with Caitlyn, correct?
That is correct.
And in June of 2022, a few months after John O'Keefe's death, you went to Ned Devine's in Boston with many, many men in the family, correct?
Yes.
That includes the Alberts, correct?
Yes.
And that includes the McCabe's.
Yes.
Do you recall who was there that night?
No, I don't.
If I show you a photograph from that night, would that refresh your memory?
Yes.
May I put you on?
Yes.
Okay, this part doesn't matter. I mean, he's just trying to say that the guys were, happy that
I put
Karen
this
Reed was
photograph
fixing to
before
be,
you.
I guess, arrested or
Take a look
something.
at
I
that
don't
and
know.
look at me
And
when you're done.
it's irrelevant, really, to this dumbass.
No, it did not.
That was a phone interview, correct?
Correct.
And your attorney was on the line for that, correct?
Correct.
Oh, yeah, that's interesting.
34 Fairview Road on January 29th after midnight.
I don't remember the time.
Okay. But you do remember being there, correct?
At the waterfall?
No, at the 34 Fairview.
I remember picking my girlfriend up. Yes.
You do, because you testified to that, right? Today.
Yes.
And when you were there, you had an opportunity to see the front lawn to that property, did you not?
Yes.
You pulled into the driveway?
I don't remember where I pulled into.
Oh, my lord.
Okay. Did you pull into any place when you got there?
I don't remember where I pulled into.
So you say you don't remember where you pulled into. That wasn't my question. My question was, did you pull in any place when you got to 34 Fairview?
Well, I had to pick my girlfriend up, so yes, I did.
Was there any place other than the driveway to pull into when you got to 34 Fairview?
No.
So it had to be the driveway, right?
Must have been.
When you pulled into the driveway, you waited a period of time for Caitlyn, correct?
Yes.
And how long a period of time was that?
I don't remember.
Was it more than a half hour?
No.
Was it more than 10 minutes?
I don't remember.
It could have been more than 10 minutes.
Probably wasn't.
And when you say probably wasn't, that means it probably was less than 10 minutes, correct?
I don't remember the time.
During that time that you were waiting for Caitlyn
You're
to
so
come out of the
funny
house
because
while
of
you were in the
this
driveway,
stupid ass stuff
there was
he does
nothing
remember,
obstructing your view
that he can't remember.
Shifting gears for a second, this was on January 29th of 2022, correct?
Yes.
And ultimately, you did pick up Caitlyn and take her back to Easton, correct?
Correct.
On January 29th, at any point that day or night, Trooper Michael Proctor never interviewed you, correct?
Correct.
Nor did he interview the next day or the day after that, correct?
Correct.
Or the month of February, correct?
Correct.
Or the entire year of 2022, correct?
Correct.
Or the entire year of 2023, correct?
Correct.
The first time any in living with Caitlyn, correct?
That is correct.
And in June of 20 in living with Caitlyn, correct?
That is correct.
Uh-oh.
The older fourth user.
2012, yes.
And so why was it that
Hanson,
Where in Canton?
34 Fairview.
The son of one of Nicole and Julie Albert's. You've never testified previously in any hearing before Fairview Road in Canton
wow.
at 1:45 in the morning or about 1:45 on January 29th of 2022, correct?
I don't remember the time.
Was it wildly different than 1:45 in the morning, or was it somewhat close to that?
I'm not going to make up a time. I don't remember.
Was it 9 p.m. on the 28th?
I don't remember times.
So if I asked you if you were there to pick up your girlfriend Caitlyn at 9 p.m. on January 28th,
He
you
doesn't
couldn't say if
remember
that's
much
true
of
or false?
anything, does he?
No, because I'm not making up a time.
Now he gets
Okay, so it could have been
somebody's
9
trying to
p.m. that you
force
were
him.
there, not
Nobody's
1:45 in the
forcing him.
morning.
I didn't say that.
Dumbass. We just want to
Well,
know what time you picked
You've
her up.
just said that you can't rule out that it was actually 9 p.m. on the 28th, didn't you?
Objection, Your Honor.
Can you answer that? Did you say that?
I didn't say anything. I don't remember the
I
time.
didn't say
No,
anything.
I understand.
So I'm not going to make up a time.
Hold on.
Oh
Only
my
one person can
God.
speak at a time.
I don't, it could have been later, it could have been early. I don't know a time.
Right, but it couldn't have been 9 p.m. on January 28th. Could it have been?
I don't know.
Okay. What time were you at the waterfall?
I don't remember.
Were you at the waterfall?
Yes, I was.
On what date?
The 28th.
Was it in the morning?
It was at nighttime.
Okay. What time did you leave the waterfall?
I don't remember.
Did you leave at 5 p.m.?
I don't remember.
Is
Could
he
have been 5
shady?
p.m. that you left.
Could have been 5 in the morning. I don't know.
Is he a rock?
Okay.
Man, he sure does. It just
Leaving
knows a
aside
lot.
what time it was, or strike it. Will you testify that you were at 34 Fairview Road on January 29th after midnight?
I don't remember the time.
Okay. No, at the 34 Fairview today.
Yes.
And when you were there, you had an opportunity to see the front lawn to that property, did you not?
Yes.
You pulled into the driveway.
I don't remember where I pulled into.
Okay. Did you pull into any place when you got there?
I don't remember where I pulled into.
So you say you don't remember where you pulled into. That wasn't my question. My question was, did you pull in any place when you got to 34th Fairview?
Well, I had to pick my girlfriend up, so yes, I did.
You did. Okay. Was there any place other than the driveway to pull into when you got to 34th Fairview?
No,
So it had to be the driveway, right?
must have been.
When you pulled into the driveway, you waited a period of time for Caitlyn, correct?
Yes.
And how long a period of time was that?
I don't remember.
Was it more than a half hour?
No,
Was it more than 10 minutes?
I don't remember.
It could have been more than 10 minutes.
Probably wasn't.
And when you say probably wasn't, that means it probably was less than 10 minutes, correct?
I don't remember the time.
Oh my God, it's like pulling teeth.
During that time that you were waiting for Caitlyn to come out of the house while you were in the driveway, there was nothing obstructing your view of the front lawn, correct?
Nope.
All right. And shifting gears for a second, this was on January 29th of 2022, correct?
Yes.
And ultimately, you did pick up Caitlyn and take her back to Easton, correct?
Correct.
On January 29th, at any point that day or night, Trooper Michael Proctor never interviewed you, correct?
Correct.
Nor did he interview the next day or the day after that, correct?
Correct.
Or the month of February, correct?
Correct.
Or the entire year of 2022, correct?
Correct.
Or the entire year of 2023, correct?
Correct.
The first time any investigation, 7th of 2024, correct?
When was that? I don't.
That was 1 week ago. That was last Tuesday.
Correct.
You were aware at the time you were being interviewed for the first time by any investigator, this case had already started.
Yes.
You were aware that this jury heard opening statements from both
And
counsel on
nobody
April
ever talked
29th,
to
which
him.
was
Wow.
over a week before May 7th, correct?
Yes.
So it wasn't until over a week after opening statements that somebody from the state police finally interviewed you, correct?
Nobody from the state police interviewed me.
Oh, jeez.
Who was it that interviewed you?
Nobody interviewed me. Spoke to the DAs about coming in here. That was about it.
Okay, I thought you had just testified that on May 7th, that was the first time an investigator reached out for you.
Yes.
All right. And when I use the term interview, I don't mean that somebody put a bright spotlight on you and took you into an interrogation room. I'm just asking, did somebody ask you questions?
Yes.
Objection.
I'll let it stand.
Thank you, Ron. And that interview did not take place in person, correct?
No, it did not.
That was a phone interview, correct?
Correct.
And your attorney was on the line for that, correct?
Correct.
Now,
Why does he have an attorney?
from the beginning of the night on January 28th, your plan was to go home early, correct?
Correct.
You weren't drinking much, correct?
That is correct.
You had to get up early.
Yes.
correct? And it actually was really early. It could have been as early as 3 a.m., correct?
Correct.
So from the beginning, you knew that you weren't going to get much sleep, correct?
Yes.
And if you were going to get any sleep, you couldn't stay at the waterfall all night, correct?
That is correct.
So you left early.
Yes.
And you plan to go home, get
Here it
whatever
comes.
rest or sleep you could get, and then wait for the call to go out plowing, correct?
That is correct.
The plan from the beginning was not for you to leave the waterfall, go to Easton, and then drive back from Easton to Canton to pick up Caitlyn, and then take her back to Easton so that you could wait for the call for plowing. That was not the original plan, correct?
No, it wasn't.
No, of course it wasn't. So
Okay. There it is. No, it wasn't. So I guess they forgot to tell dumb shit here he was supposed to lie. Let's hear it again.
during that time that you were waiting for Caitlyn to come out of the house while you were in the driveway, there was nothing obstructing your view of the front lawn, correct?
Nope.
All right. And shifting gears for a second, this was on January 29th of 2022, correct?
Yes.
And ultimately, you did pick up Caitlyn and take her back to Easton, correct?
Correct.
On January 29th, at any point that day or night, Trooper Michael Proctor never interviewed you, correct?
Correct.
Nor did he interview the next day or the day after that, correct?
Correct.
Or the month of February, correct?
Correct.
Or the entire year of 2022, correct?
Correct.
Or the entire year of 2023, correct?
Correct.
Case interviewed you was May 7th of 2024, correct?
When was that? I don't.
That was 1 week ago. That was last Tuesday.
Correct.
You were aware at the time you were being interviewed for the first time by any investigator, this case had already started.
Yes.
You were aware that this jury heard opening statements from both counsel on April 29th, which was
Sorry,
over a
I
week
went too
before
far.
May 7th, correct?
Yes.
So finally interviewed you, correct?
Nobody from the state police interviewed me.
Who was it that interviewed you?
Nobody interviewed me. Spoke to the DAs about coming in here. That was about it.
Look at his face.
Okay, I thought you had just testified that on May 7th, that was the first time an
He
investigator
does
reached
look
out to you.
confused, doesn't he?
Yes.
And when I use the term interview, I don't mean that somebody put a bright spotlight on you and took you into an interrogation room. I'm
Briefest.
just
You
asking
only
you
had a
to ask
couple
questions.
things to remember.
Yes.
I'll let it
Forget 'em.
stand.
Don't forget them.
Thank you, Ron. And that interview did not take place in person, correct?
No, it did not.
That was a phone interview, correct?
Correct.
And your attorney was on the line for that, correct?
Correct.
Now,
Why does he have an
from the
attorney?
beginning of the night on January 28th, your
Here we
plan
go.
was to go home early, correct?
Correct.
You weren't drinking much, correct?
That is correct.
You had to get up early.
Yes.
correct? And it actually was really early. It could have been as early as 3 a.m., correct?
Correct.
So from the beginning, you knew that you weren't going to get much sleep, correct?
Yes.
And if you were going to get any sleep, you couldn't stay at the waterfall all night, correct?
That is correct.
So you left early.
Yes.
And you plan to go home, get whatever rest or sleep you could get, and then wait for the call to go out plowing, correct?
That is correct.
The plan from the beginning was not for you to leave the waterfall, go to Easton, and then drive back from Easton to Canton to pick up Caitlyn, and then take her back to Easton so that you could wait for the call for plowing. That was not the original plan, correct?
No, it wasn't.
No, of course it wasn't. So I apologize, Ron. I withdraw that comment. But the plan
All right.
changed, correct?
Yes.
So
And
that explains that. That's why I'm just, oh my gosh. Now, the interesting thing is that she lied. We all knew she lied. But Dimwit, I guess, didn't know she lied. Now, I want to show this. This was May 2nd of 2024. Now, I want you to remember that the McAlberts have claimed Turtle Boy has harassed them and heaven only knows what all. And I think that's pretty much just to scare people. Turtle Boy, he just wants the truth out. But let's take 5 minutes real quick, and then I'm going to say goodnight. But watch this, y'all.
I mean, Kara Reed is completely innocent. You know that, though, right?
Why are you filming me now?
Well, I mean, you just said Kara Reed did it, right? I mean, you were walking away and you had something
I
to
know,
say.
but you gotta fucking film me.
Well, I'm just curious. You just told me Kara Reed did it.
You
What happened?
gotta film me.
I mean, you just told me she did it, right?
Can you get the
All
fuck out of
I
here?
wanted to know was why did Caitlyn Albert change her story from
Why the
leaving at
fuck you
12:15 to
filming?
1:45?
Bro, nobody wants you here. Get the fuck out, man. Come on,
I'm just
say it.
asking. In
I'm
front of
from
me.
here. I'm from.
What happened?
I mean, Kara Reed is completely innocent. You know that, though, right?
Why are you filming me now?
Well, I mean, you just said Kara Reed did it, right? I mean, you were walking away and you had something
I
to
know.
say.
Oh, goodness. Okay, let me see. Let me try again.
I mean, Kara Reed is completely innocent. You know that, though, right?
Why are you filming me now?
Well, I mean, you just said Kara Reed did it, right? I mean, you were
Okay, I
walking
don't
away
understand
and you had
what's
something
I
to
know,
going
but
say.
you gotta
here.
fucking film me.
Well, I'm just curious. You just told me Kara Reed did it.
You gotta film me.
I mean, you just told me she did it,
Alright.
right?
Can you
We'll
get the
save
fuck
that
All
for
I wanted
tomorrow.
to know was why
Because
did Caitlyn Albert
it's time for me to hit the sack and see if this works. So if it does, this will be the first one, which I don't think it's too awful, but we'll see how it goes. Sorry it's been a little bit. I was trying to figure things out and had a few personal issues or a few things that were breaking my heart. Hold on, where? Oh, I got it. I got it, guys. I mute. Okay. Mm-mm.
say?
You gotta fucking film me.
Well, I'm just curious.
Okay.
I mean, Kara
Right,
Reed
okay.
is completely innocent. You know that, though, right?
Why are you filming me now?
Well, I mean, you just said Kara Reed did it, right? I mean, you were walking away and you had something
I
to
know,
say.
but you gotta fucking film me.
Well, I'm just curious. You just told me Kara Reed did it.
You gotta film me.
I mean, you just told me she did it, right?
Can you get the fuck out?
All I wanted to know was why did 12:15 to
Bro,
1:45?
nobody wants you here. Get the fuck out, man. Come on,
I'm just
say it.
asking. I mean, you confronted me. You confronted
I'm from
me.
here. I'm from here. You're not. I'm not. You can get the fuck out of here. And both.
I mean, was
You're
Caitlyn
not from here.
was Caitlyn in that?
Yeah. Why is he fucking recording me?
Was
Yeah,
was
it is.
Caitlyn in the house when they murdered John?
Stop. What the fuck are you doing?
Was Caitlyn in the house when they murdered John?
He's calling the cops.
All right, let's get him down here. Let's talk.
Such a fucking pussy. You really are.
How am I a pussy?
Why are you filming me, dude?
So I'm just curious. Why did she change her story? Why did Caitlyn change her story from leaving from 12:15 to 1:45? I'm just curious. I mean, I was gonna walk away, and then you had to say the thing about Karen did it.
I asked you a question. That's all I asked.
No, but you
said
walked
no
away. And
cameras.
you said,
I said no.
well, then
cameras.
you had to
Hey,
spell
I
out
got
at the end.
a 5'2" man. He's
5'2". He's got jokes. He's got jokes. Why aren't you on the Canton? Why aren't you on the Canton PD list anymore? Nah. Probably just gonna stay anyway. But I'm just curious. Why'd you pick her up at 1:45?
Yeah, I'm at the beach.
And what'd you tell? Why'd you say Karen did it?
5'2".
How come? Why are there dog bites on John? Do you know where Chloe is by any chance?
This is
And don't you live in Easton? I thought you lived in Easton. And don't you drive? You drive a car that's very similar to a Ford Edge that was seen parked outside 34 Fairview Road at 3 a.m. No?
Yeah.
No?
Look at him.
I mean, I'm
Big
just
man.
curious.
No, I don't. No.
You're really calling the police right now
Yeah.
and telling them what?
And tell them there's a small, strange man harassing me.
I mean, I'm just asking you questions. You came up to me, dude.
Yeah,
I didn't even
that's
recognize you. You had to tell me who you were. I didn't even recognize you. You were Tristan Morris.
I told you. I told you to put the cameras away.
And I said no.
I came up to you. I said no cameras.
And then I agreed to it. But then you said the smart aleck comment when you walked away
I
about.
didn't make a smart fucking.
You said Karen Reed did.
Smart comment.
I didn't say anything. I just asked you a question.
Maggot.
What'd you say?
You're a fucking maggot. You're a maggot.
Not really. I mean, but I mean, I'm just curious.
Okay, so the funny thing here is Tristan Morris went up to Turtle Boy. And then when he made the comment that Karen Reed was guilty, Turtle Boy started recording him. So
You're a maggot.
How am I a maggot?
You're a fucking maggot.
How so?
Like you don't punch your fucking head in the.
Really? Like you guys did to John? You guys like punching people. I know you like punching people.
Get the fuck away from me.
I mean, are you gonna do what like what you guys did to John O'Keefe? How you murdered him?
Get the fuck away from me.
I mean, I'm just curious.
Get the fuck away from me.
Are you gonna punch me? You said you're gonna punch me. I'm just curious why. Why do you guys always resort to punching? Why does everything have to be so confrontational with the McAlberts? Now, you want to punch me? You can punch me.
Why would I do that?
I mean, you're on the phone talking to the police and you're threatening to punch me. I'm a rat? Yeah, you guys don't like it when people rat, right? When people tell the truth? That's what you call people who tell the cops the truth, right? Rat. I'm a rat. That's what you guys call people who tell the cops the truth, right? A rat?
The fuck out of here.
But seriously, I mean, you came up to me and wanted to talk to me. So,
yeah, I said off camera.
Yeah, and I agreed, and I was respectful to you. And then you walk away and you go, Karen Reed, and then you go, Karen Reed did it, by the way. Karen Reed didn't do it. Karen Reed's a completely innocent woman.
With the camera on.
I'm not tough at all. I'm just a reporter asking questions. I'm just a reporter asking questions.
You're a fucking maggot.
I mean, so why doesn't John have any injuries below his nose?
Shut the camera
and
off.
Why did Caitlyn tell police she left at 12:15 if she really left at 1:45? Why did she do that? I don't get it.
Shut the camera off.
I mean, are you protecting Brian? Who did it? Who killed John?
All right, dude. Come on.
You know, come on. I know you know. I know you know.
A little bit.
You don't think John O'Keefe's family deserves justice?
Nobody wants you over here, dude.
I mean, I want to know. Do you think John O'Keefe's family deserves justice?
Wants you over here. Get the fuck out of
Do
here.
you think John O'Keefe's family deserves justice? Yes or no? Your
call the
girlfriend's family committed? I mean, were you in the house that night? Were you in the house that night when John was murdered? Because I'm just curious. You were with him at the waterfall bar.
You know what? This isn't the place to.
Thank you.
He started talking to me. He started talking to me.
Thank you. Nobody wants you, man.
No, please stop.
Nobody wants you.
His family killed his girlfriend's family murdered Officer John O'Keefe, and I'm just.
Look at him. Look at him. Oh, thank you. Thank you. See, nobody wants you. Well, I mean, the thing is he started it. Just like all the whining about harassment, how they claim that's harassment. You know, it's okay if you go up and want to be big ass and talk, but you don't want to be filmed. Whoa. They should know. I mean, they're so controversial.
Just wondering why. I mean, he came up to me. I didn't seek him out. I didn't even recognize him. But anyway, Tristan, we're going to head out of here, buddy. Good luck with the police.
Yeah, go fuck yourself, pussy.
Okay. Real nice language. Real nice language. All right. See you later.
Sorry, that's a little annoying.
Thank you.
I'm just.
Nobody likes you, buddy.
See you later.
Nice bird.
All right.
Anyways, your shirt is fine.
Okay, guys. So that was it. But yeah. And then there's another guy that he was also a witness, and he was one of the ones out in front of D&E Pizza that day. So I hope y'all enjoyed this. It was driving me crazy that first of all, her story was just, it was just out there like Pluto. It was just out there. But it was so funny because, her boyfriend He didn't get it at all. Yeah, I mean, he's like, no, that wasn't a plan. No, I was gonna go home, go sleep, and go to work. That was, but yeah. So, all right, y'all, it's almost 3 a.m. So I'm going to go now. It's taken me a bit. I've stopped and come back. We'll see if it saves. Good night.